But he's so funny though. I think he thinks that I don't know what's going on, which is quite funny. I don't think he realizes that I know his kind. I'm not an inexperienced safari guide anymore, sorry elephant. Right, well we're going to play whatever game the elephant is playing with us this afternoon. We're going to suss it out. And hopefully we're going to win. I'm sure we're going to win. Let's send you down to South Africa, where I hope the weather is a little bit better.
Well, nothing like a big elephant bull in must, and I hope you guys and Taylor weren't too close to it. I was getting a little bit worried when I heard Taylor had to start reversing, but I'm sure everything was totally under control and you had a great time with him and her. We are driving a road that I haven't driven since I've been back, interestingly. It's called Quarry Pan Road, and I wonder why I personally just don't find myself driving it very often. There used to be a lot of time that the Nkuhumas pride spent in this area. When I first came to Djuma, nearly 3 years ago, but recently, I don't know, they haven't been spending too much time here. I actually haven't seen them or the Styx pride. I haven't seen a lioness since I've been here. I've only seen the Matimbas, which is quite something. And I've been, I mean, it's not to say they haven't been on the property, but I've been here for close on a month and haven't seen hardly any lion. That's fine though. Got my lion fix up in the Mara, and now loving spending time with leopards. Although of course it would be nice to see some lion from time to time. Anywho, I'm not even sure where they are at the moment, or the Styx pride, to be honest, but hopefully they're going to pop in and visit soon. It's not uncommon for them to move off and spend time elsewhere in their territory. Lions do ordinarily have quite large territories, even the prides of lioness, so it's not uncommon for them to be off our property. Whereas with leopards, at least as a general rule, there'll probably always be a leopard or 2 or 3 on the property. They're just a lot more tricky to find than the lion. That's what makes it tricky, even though they're always here. You'd like to know if we have any special traditions in Djuma. I'm guessing it's around Christmas time. Not particularly, no, sadly. Maybe we need to start some. If you've got any good ideas, please send them through. But no, we don't have many Christmas traditions here, other than, I guess, trying to be as festive as we can. Wearing these fine hats, balls, decorating the dash. The lights are actually on. Or are they on? Now they are on. But I don't know. Yeah, you can actually see that it's on. It would be better if we were on safari at night though. And if I flash it like this, then we can have a flashing light. It doesn't have a flash function. This is a manual flash. So I'm having to manually do this. I will be arriving at the Buffelshoek waterhole soon, but you will be glad to know that Ralph has found a rhino.
Yeah, thank you, Scott, and we sure have been able to find a rhino. So that was on my Christmas wish list. We can tick that one off. I don't think we're going to be able to find a leopard, which is the only one that will be left out. But we'll leave that to the guys down in Djuma, where they're specializing in those. And it's very rare for us to find a black rhino, so lovely sighting this. And even more rare for me is seeing black rhino grazing. Now this is just a pure indication for me of the quality of the grazing available, because black rhino are not grazers. But look at this. That's what we say, but this rhino is grazing, so maybe we should think about our term here. But no, in general they still are browsers, but he's obviously just making use of the very nutritional grass that's available. And very unusual to see them out in the plain as well for me. I very often see them in the thickets, and it's strange to see them out in the open. Pisces Bobby, you're giving us the thumbs up, the yay, black rhino. Well, I agree with you 100%. Look at that lovely view. Still a little bit ominous in the background, but looking a bit better than it was earlier. But lovely to have a nice Balanetese tree, and underneath it a black rhino. And that's a lovely view in the Masai Mara. Now, handicap vision, you're wondering how thick rhino's skin is. It's probably just less than an inch thick. So it is very thick, to be honest. And as Archie pans there, you can just get a feel of what we are looking at here, and a lovely feel to the Masai Mara. And there's a few other vehicles now that are starting to go a little bit closer to that black rhino. With it being Christmas, there are a few more people around, everybody wanting to come and experience their own country and come to have a look at the wildlife. So we're not going to hassle this black rhino, and we're going to let everybody move in and go and have their little view. We're going to leave him alone, and I'm off to try and find some baboon to end our story for the day. But in the meantime, while we do that, let's send you down to Noel in South Africa.
Everyone, I have the best Christmas gift for you. Just hold on. Ferg's gonna get you the best view just now. There she is. And just as we were coming through, the little cub was poking its head up. If you can see where she's twitching her tail, just to the left of her tail. We're gonna wait and see if the little one will show itself to you. So we came, this is where she was lying. It's going completely nuts, but we couldn't see her, so we decided to move away and just let it cool down just a little bit and just give her some time to come out to where the cub is. And she's done that, and she is sitting so nicely for everybody. And I'm too excited right now. I'm loving the fact that Tandy has decided to have her den site so close to where we operate, because it really gives us a chance to showcase to you how amazing all of this is. Now, the way she's moving her tail means to me that she's hot, and she's slightly annoyed, but she's not annoyed with us, she's annoyed at the heat. We came in from the other direction, and she just looked at us a little bit. There was no hissing, there was no baring of the lip. If there was, that would mean that she needs a little bit more space. It's very humid right now. It's probably raining somewhere close to us, and it might start raining here maybe tonight. I don't think within the next sort of 5 hours or so, but in the middle of the night. And so that's very difficult for her because she's covered in fur. So earlier we were talking about how elephants can lose about 82% of their body heat through their ears. She needs to pant, and you can see she's panting quite heavily there. Now, I have a feeling the cub's gone back in, oh, beautiful stretch. The cub's gone back into the little hidey hole that's just behind her, just as we came in. It's still getting used to us, but you all have seen it before. I'm counting the little top of the head and the little ears that we saw as we came in, and then I think it just needs a moment or two and we'll pop back out. Now, my Christmas wish list was to be able to see the little cub, and then now my Christmas wish list for all of you is to maybe see them nursing. That's what I would like to see. So we're not gonna move from here unless we absolutely have to. We're gonna give it as much time as we can possibly allow. It's also good for us to sit and talk quietly like what we're doing right now, because it will get the cub used to the vehicles and used to knowing that we're part of its natural environment and that we're not here to upset it in any way. And also, Mum's reaction to us is important for the cub's reaction as well. So she is so relaxed. So that little one will also be be quite a relaxed cat. This is too exciting. Scarlett, you're curious to know how many cubs Thandi has had in her lifetime. Now, I don't know Thandi that well. This is only the third time that I've seen her. So Tristan is our resident leopard man, and he is away on Christmas holiday. But I do know there are a lot of viewers who have watched for a decade of Wild Earth and Safari Live. So I'm going to throw that question back to you all and see if there's someone that's watching that has that answer. I do know that Shadow and Thandi have not been as lucky with the survival of their cubs as much as Karula was, but I'll be interested to hear what you all have to say. And then when Tris gets, if no one that's watching knows, when Tris gets back from leave, I'll give him a shout and ask. And then Nix, if you're listening, also maybe Scotty D would know how many cubs Thandi has had in her lifetime. So we'll ask those guys. When you come and you of the leopards, and I've been working through it slowly but surely. Tandy I'm still working on, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I would guesstimate that she's probably had at least 4 litters, if not more.
All I know is Tumba, he was here now.
Yeah. And Tumba's still doing well over there in Little Gowrie, where it seems everybody likes to be. Now, something that the African bush has taught me, I'm not a very patient person, but the bush has taught me patience. And for instance, when we were watching those elephants just now, we know what they're going to do. We just have to be patient and it will happen. But with this, knowing this little cub is right here, and knowing that it could pop its head out at any moment, my patience is bordering on, oh my goodness, just come out already. But it'll come, it'll happen. We just got to send out the good positive vibes and wait. I want you to notice her belly. It's not thin, but I want you to notice how quickly it's gone down from the size we saw yesterday. She's processing that food very, very quickly because of the milk she's producing. Brenda, you and I are sharing a brain. So Brenda, I've got Faith directing and she's up in the Mara, and we've got a 13-second delay. So just as I'm talking about Tandy's belly, obviously just before that your question came through, which is absolutely fantastic. So Brenda, she ate yesterday and she ate a little bit this morning, and she ate a couple days before that as well. So I think just the way that she's lying down, because some of her skin is sagging there around her elbow, is making her look more thin than she is. But if you actually see the side of her belly there, she does still have quite a bit of meat that's in there. If Tandy was very thin, Brenda, you would see a lot more around the back and around the sort of pelvic area, the hip bones jutting out. Very similar to if you have a domesticated dog or a domesticated cat that is malnourished. That's usually where you see it along the rib cage. So she's looking nice and sleek and happy and healthy. And then the comment I was just making earlier about her belly having gone down very quickly has a lot to do with how much she has to process, especially energy-wise, because of the fact that she's nursing. So she's got to protect the cub. Obviously her adrenaline's up a little bit higher because she's got this little one around, and then she needs to be hunting quite a bit. But lucky for her, she's busy nursing during a time when there's a lot of baby impala and baby wildebeest and baby warthogs, which are highly nutritious and much easier to catch. And yesterday what she was eating was, and this morning was a baby impala. Ferg and I found her yesterday afternoon, and then she ate some of it and then pulled it up into a marula tree. And then Scotty D went back there this morning and she was eating a little bit of it, and then she brought the head and part of the body back this way, from what I heard from Scotty D this morning. And then he was lucky and got to see the little cub poking its little head out from inside of this tree. And she hasn't moved it too far from the original den site. It's only It's less than 100 meters, so less than 100 yards away. But it's just enough so that the smell is not as potent as where it would have been before. Joe, you're curious to know if we just heard the cub calling. No, Joe, there's been no communication between the cub and her. The cub sound, I'm going to give you a little lion sound, which is very similar. It's got a slightly different pitch for leopard, but it's a wow, and it's very tiny. And then her call is going to be more of a, I'm sorry, I'm so much better at the lions, sort of raspy oof. But not as liony as that. It's going to be a little bit more saw-like. Not the huh, huh, huh when they're alarm calling, but more similar to that than the oof, oof. Oh, what's coming at the back there? There's Nyala that are coming through the back. It's going to be, she's watching it now. There, see that Nyala? That Nyala has no idea that she's here. No clue. Scarlet, you're curious to know why leopards have loose skin. Scarlet, leopards and lions, all of your predators have loose skin. It gets more loose the older they get. It's just the way that she's lying down right now. It's pulling off. It's similar to us humans, where the older we get, the more gravity takes place, and then the more cubs she has, especially around her nursing area, her uterine area on the outside, it'll start getting a little bit loose. This is an amazing shot, everybody. You can see that Nyala perfectly, as well as Thandi. That Nyala, the wind is blowing in such a way that Nyala has not seen this leopard. If it had seen this leopard, it would start alarm calling. So that Nyala is just moving around. Now, interestingly enough, Thandi doesn't have enough space. Look at that. Thandi doesn't have enough space to start hunting at the moment, so she's just lying really still for two reasons. One, it might just be too hot for her to want to move right. She's going to bide her time and wait and sort of see what happens. But she's definitely interested. You've got the ears that are perked forward, and then the tail is curled a little bit in anticipation. So we'll have to wait and see. And I've seen at least 3 Nyala, so I'm guessing there's anywhere between sort of 3 and 6. There's a nice little herd here. You can see another one coming through the back. Now, these Nyala will be followed by oxpeckers most likely, and if the oxpeckers see this leopard, the oxpeckers will start alarm calling, which will then put the Nyala quite alert. See that? Has no idea. So something I want to point out from this interaction is that a lot of people assume when there's prey species around that there can't be a predator. Where those Nyala are walking from where Thandi is about 20 to 30 meters, so 20 to 30 yards. It's not far. It is very, very close. Wind direction has to be right, and they also have to be able to see the predator, either see or smell. If Thandi were to start vocalizing for terror, blissfully unaware that she's here. The prey species cannot always know that a predator's around, because then a predator would never eat, and then the predators would never survive. And vice versa, the predators can't always be able to get to the prey species, or else the prey species wouldn't survive. There has to be a balance. And this beautiful wind that's happening now and her camouflage coat are giving the balance a little bit more towards her. But where the Nyala have moved is a slightly open spot, so if she were to move now, they would definitely catch her movement out of the corner of her eye, of their eye. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. And then there's also the hazard if she does decide to take one of these Nyala. I mean, these Nyala are quite big. I'm not seeing any tiny babies. So where she would have to put the kill would be very close to the den. So then that can sometimes cause issues for her small one. So I was actually talking to Ferg about it when we were coming through. I was saying to Ferg, sometimes with cubs this age and starting to get a little bit older, when you come to den sites, you have to look up in the trees, because sometimes another predator or something's come around and they need to get up higher. Karin, thank you so much. You're saying that Thandi this is her 5th litter. So I think I said 3 or 4, so I wasn't too far off. So Karin, thank you so much. 5th litter. Now Karin, my other question for you is, besides Tumba, how many of her youngsters have survived, if you know, off the top of your head? Still waiting for this little cub to pop its head out. But now if Mum, there, she's beautiful, beautiful little shot there. She's just checking on us to see where we are in relation. Yeah, definitely. If at any point I think that she's going to start actively hunting, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say to everyone, if she starts hunting, as she starts doing it, I'm going to say to everyone, all right, let's just be quiet for a bit and watch, because I don't want to do anything that will disrupt. It is very quiet and peaceful where we are right now, so any large movements from us on the vehicle to for now, I don't think she's going to do much. I think if she does do anything, she's going to wait for them just to move a little bit, and then she'll get off the tree, and then we'll see. Toma, you're wondering, can she really take down a Nyala? Isn't it too big? No, she'll be fine. Female Nyala will be fine for her, no problem at all. Tandy can kill a large male impala on her own. That's not an issue. Something like, it also depends, Toma, it also depends on what she specializes in. So the kills that I've personally seen Thandi on, and remember this is only my third time seeing her, have all been impala, and then the ones that I've heard about from other people have been impala. So that's one of her specialties. Now, I think that this is going to take some time if she decides to do anything. So I think let's head back up to the Masai Mara and let's check in with Taylor and see what she's up to. And trust me, if anything starts happening this side, you'll come back to us. So let's go have a look up to another special ecosystem while we wait and watch.
Well, it's definitely a different ecosystem that we're looking at. We're stopped at my favorite point on the Olololo escarpment, where the Angama Mara team have set up the most spectacular Christmas sundowner. Now, I know a lot of you have never been on a safari and might not ever have the chance, so I had to come and show you this beautiful scene and something that you can experience when you come on a safari. Maybe this will tempt you. There's an entire table with drinks, all the hurricane lanterns are out, a beautiful big bonfire, shookers to keep everybody nice and warm a little bit later if the fire doesn't do the job, because it is quite chilly out here. But isn't that so cool? That is so beautiful. And guess what? We've all been invited. How exciting. I cannot wait to go over in a little bit once the show has ended and, well, enjoy with all the guests and hear about their exciting stories, chat to all the guides, do a bit of catching up, and then, of course, chatting to Shannon and Tyler, who are running it and have organized this beautiful scene. Isn't that so cool? That's one of the things I think I miss the most about working at lodges, is helping to set up these sundowner stops, which are so spectacular. Now, Dave, you're wondering if this setup overlooks the valley. It does. I'm trying to think, Manu. Do you think we should quickly try and go around the tree and show everyone? We'll be sneaky. But last look, we're going to do it very quickly. Hopefully I don't get into trouble for just driving everywhere. But we'll say sorry just now. So what we'll do is we'll go around and we'll park very quickly just on the other side of the tree, just to show you the view. Might be a little bit tricky though, because there's lots and lots of vehicles here, but it is so stunning. It is absolutely incredible. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm like a little girl. Right, so I'm going to just stop here. Oh, this is even better. You guys are going to be so excited. Look at that. This is what everybody's looking down onto. Wow. Leonard, you're wondering if the lions are invited? There's nothing stopping them coming up here. There's no fence, there's no absolutely nothing. And it's a pity we've got such a hazy day in the Mara, although not as bad as the other afternoon. You can still make out the Inselbergs, you can see the Serena Hill and the various layers. But very cool, very nice. The chefs are there. It seems as though there's some snacks around too. Wonderful. Well, I think it's time to start heading home soon, and I think Ralph is going to be doing the same thing before he changes out of his khaki pants and into something slightly smarter. Let's go and see how he feels about tonight's Sundowners.
Thanks, Taylor. Yeah, I really would like to enjoy ourselves this evening and have a lovely Christmas, but it seems quite fitting that we started with Giraffe off in the distance, and even though there was rain behind them, now we've got Giraffe off in the distance as we are heading towards the end of our afternoon game drive here in the Masai Mara in Kenya. Now, I was just chatting with Archie on our way up here, and I'm not that type of guide, but it is quite nice to note that on this drive between South Africa and Kenya, we have found the big five for you. When we started, we had elephant. I think Taylor also had elephant. We also had lions. I don't know if Taylor had, but we definitely had lions. There's been leopard down in Djuma, and we've had the black rhino. Remember, white rhino is actually not one of the big five. It's a black rhino. And which one am I missing, Archie? Elephant, lion, leopard, black rhino, and what's the other one in the big five? Why am I forgetting? Oh well, I'm sure you know what I mean. I've got stuck now. A buffalo, of course, a buffalo. What was I thinking? So we had the big five. What a fantastic end to the day. And thanks for joining us, folks. I'm going to be sending you all the way back to South Africa. And thanks a lot. Have a Merry Christmas wherever you are, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And we'll see you tomorrow morning for another game drive.
Hello everyone, and Senzo and I were just having a laugh saying that Christmas is an emotional time for everyone, even the kudu. You can see a small tear mark running down from her eye there, so maybe it's just the heat today that's causing her eye to leak a little bit, who knows. But isn't this an absolutely awesome antelope? You can see an oxpecker clinging to the side of it, doing a good job gleaning off ectoparasites called ticks, but it's very hot, and as you can see, that oxpecker is holding its mouth wide open to try and cool off. And very happy that we are able to take you guys on a safari from two different locations, and this is a very big reason why, because we do not get kudu, or you don't get kudu, up in of an animal that you will see down here, but not up there in the Mara. Also the Inyala is another one. Mia, you'd like to know what is the difference between a kudu and a nyala and a reindeer? Well, the main difference today, seeing as though it's Christmas, is that Santa's favorite one of those three are the reindeer. So Santa prefers reindeer over kudu and a nyala. And the other difference is that reindeer are deer and kudu and a nyala are antelope. And the main difference between deer and antelope is that the antelope horns will grow throughout the length of their life, and there's a young male kudu here, so let's show you him as well. So you can see his horns are beginning to grow. He's probably a year and a half years old, so once he gets older, year by year, his horns will continue to grow and get longer, Mia, whereas reindeer's antlers will fall off every year and grow back bigger the next year. So that's one of the major differences between those three. You also don't get reindeer in Africa unless, of course, Santa brings his sled here. So they don't usually live here. Beautiful. Now this tree that they're feeding on is got very, very horrible thorns. Not is got, has got. Seems like the Christmas festivities and all the food has got the better of me, and I cannot string a sentence together anymore. but basically there's very hooked thorns as well as straight thorns on this buffalo thorn tree. So you'll see the kudu is quite delicately nibbling off the leaves without getting kind of caught on any of the branches. It does need to be cautious there, and that's why you can see it's quite accurate and quite delicate when nibbling on this tree. And you'll find that most of the tastiest trees are the thorny ones, because that is their defense mechanism against being eaten. It's not just for fun that they've got thorns, it's to stop things nibbling on them, or at least nibbling on them too quickly. These kudu are making it look easy, but I promise you, if I was to drag my hand through one of those bushes, I'd be tangled in a heartbeat. Oh, there's another one popping up behind there. So they usually do move in small family herds of about 4 to 6 individuals as a general rule, but of course there's no set rules. You'll also notice they've got beautiful white stripes along their body, vertical white stripes, and that helps them to disappear into thicker vegetation. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to creep forward a little bit and try and simulate thicker vegetation. Okay, now if we zoom in, you'll see the branches in the foreground. Zoom in on her, Senzo. You'll see on her the same one that's behind the bush. Well, you kind of get the pictures. Well, not really now because she's disappeared. Let me move forward a bit and see if we can do it with the next one. So, not the ideal spot, but you'll see how the kind of vertical branches between us and the kudu, along with the kudu's white stripes, help break its body up. So it's not one big uniform piece. And if you just zoom out a little bit, Sense, you can imagine now how it can be difficult for predators to spot the kudu because of those white stripes. It definitely does help them blend into their ordinarily thick environment that they live in. They feed predominantly on leaves and therefore are found predominantly in thick vegetation. Wonderful. Well, we'll leave them be. We've been with them for quite a while before you came to us. I was hoping by stopping and spending some time with them, not only could we enjoy viewing, hear some alarm calls of anything really, but it's been dead quiet, and I'm guessing it's because of this very hot and muggy day that we're experiencing here. A lot of the animals, especially the predators, I think are going to be on the go slow until a little bit after dark, or at least once things cool down. Leopards can keep us on our toes, so maybe the leopards will keep moving, and who knows, maybe Tandy will go off and look for a meal. I know you guys have had some wonderful time spent with her again this afternoon and her tiny little cub. Jenny, you'd like to know why are they named kudu? I don't have the faintest idea why they are called kudu. It's a good question though. It's not one of the local languages that I know of. It's called a Shabalala, and I think the same in Shangaan. So it's not a Zulu name. The Afrikaans spelling is just the kind of, they've adopted the English spelling. English name, but just changed the spelling, so it's definitely not Afrikaans or Dutch. I think an Inyala is called an Inyala because its white stripes are similar to that of an onion, and an Inyala is an onion in Shangaan or Zulu. In Shangaan. So that. Sure. If anyone does know the answer, please let us know. It would be wonderful for us to be able to share that info with any. Yeah, Senzo seems to think it's got something to do with the sound of them running, going kutuf, kutuf, kutuf. But I heard a little bit of a naughty joke regarding that, so that's why I thought not to bring it up, because it was a certain body part flapping on the kudu that was, in theory, the one that made that noise, and obviously that certain body part is one that is best not discussed on a live safari with multiple viewers of all varying ages. So I guess you can let your imaginations run wild as to what was flapping against what. But that is one story that I have heard, but I just thought it was kind of a naughty joke and a bit of a, you know, something you tell certain guests and something you don't tell others. Because they're all so similar to one another. So maybe it's because they're big antelope, so maybe they do make a little bit more noise than your average antelope when running. But at the end of the day, some things just don't make sense. Oh, there's a scrub here out during the day, or it just disappeared and ran off. Let's see if we can get another view. I'm surprised it's out and still not hiding. I know you got a little glimpse. But yeah, I mean, there's certain things that just don't make sense. It's like, why is a black rhino and a white rhino called what they are? And even that's kind of, it's not a set rule. There's just kind of theories as to why that is the case, and it doesn't really make sense. Oh, there we go, you little cutie. Hello. We can see you. But if you keep still, we'll be very happy. Look at it, keeping a beady eye on us, and also using one of its ears to listen to us and the other to listen to something in front of us. Now let's punch zoom onto that left ear sense. It appears like there could be a tick a little bit higher up. Oh yeah, there's a little tick that's latched onto your ear. So you need to find a mate to groom. But maybe, like I said earlier, it is the festive season and it is the time of giving. So maybe this little scrub here, hello, wants to give the tick. Oh, it's got another one on its eyelid. That's an even worse spot to have one. Shame. Anyway. Christmas feast. Oh, are you hungry early? And I'm guessing the reason why this scrub here is active now and not a little bit later as it ordinarily would be is because it's getting alarmingly dry here. I cannot believe how dry it is for this time of the year. In the area where it's sitting now, it should be able to disappear in a thick blanket of grass, but as you can see, what little grass remains and what little grass there is not looking very healthy and not looking very lush. So I mean, it's early days, but I am concerned for the future of the future here in the coming months, because it looks like the herbivores are going to have a very, very difficult time finding their food, unless of course we get a huge amount of rain quickly. And I think that is why the scrub here is out and about a little bit earlier. It's just simply too hard to get enough food if they go out when they would like to. I love watching hares and rabbits nibble on something. There's just something the way their lips move and their nose moves and their eyes move. Well, not their eyes, that little part behind their temple. Kirsten, you would like to know if we can find you some mistletoe. Well, I think we will be able to possibly find some mistletoe up in some of the marula trees. It is a parasitic plant here in Africa, but we certainly do get mistletoe. I haven't seen any for a while, but maybe I just haven't been noticing it. So I'll keep an eye out and do my best to find you some. And while we go off in search of mistletoe, you guys are going back to Tandy. Hopefully the cub is out and about.
Scotty D, how epic is that that scrub hair of yours? We are still with Tandy, of course. There she is. You can see her on your screens. She's been moved ever so slightly. We haven't quite seen the cub yet, and we are eagerly awaiting the arrival. So just where Ferg is putting his camera now, in that little hole, that's where we believe it to be. Just inside there, that's where Scott got his really nice photo from this morning. Now, when Thandi moved, that whole tree is hollowed out, so, I mean, obviously that cub can go sort of pretty much anywhere inside of there. And when she moved just now, she was making little noises to the cub. So I have a feeling what's going to happen soon is she's going to have the cub come out, they'll interact a little bit, and then she'll probably meander off. Now, by soon, In South Africa, we say just now or now, which could mean 3 seconds from now. It could mean an hour from now. So we just kind of have to wait and be patient and see what happens. And then I just want to say Merry Christmas to my family who's watching the show. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. They finally figured out how to do the live YouTube. So thanks, Mom. Thanks, John. And they've been very lucky. They've come out to visit me quite a few times, and we've seen some leopards during their stay, which has always been good. Now, what I want Thandi to get up from where she is, turn around, walk over towards the hole, put her face down, and then call out that little cub. I know my Christmas wish list just keeps getting more and more precise, but it could happen. Sorry, I just thought I heard something. Hold on. No, I'm just getting overly excited. Now, there's always a lot of question as to why is the tip of the tail of the leopard so white like that. Now, something you'll notice if this little cub comes out and obliges us, is that white is and the tail movement transfixes them. And sometimes when the mum walks away, it's a way for them to follow. But then also in scenarios like this, she had the tail close to the hole earlier and was flicking it around. And it wouldn't surprise me if the cub was inside watching that tail move around. Adrian, you're curious to know who gets to name the cub. So Adrian, and if you guys can name the cub, Adrian, in other properties that I've worked on, the cubs of lion and leopard, well, leopard in general, are named by the guide who finds them. So James found the first den site, and Tristan, what we thought was the first den site, and Tristan double confirmed it. So I have a feeling between the two of them there might be a name. However, the Djuma guides might also want to have a go at it. So I'm not quite sure if it'll be you all, or if it'll be James and Tristan, or if it'll be the Djuma guides, or maybe it'll be a combination of everybody. We'll have to wait and see. And then also personalities. You can't name them when they're too little. You have to wait. Normally you wait for about 2 years. I know here we do it about a year. Myrna, you're curious to know what the sex of the cub is. Myrna, I actually have not seen this cub yet, except for very briefly, just as we got here, just a little tip of the head. I know Tristan thinks that it's a girl, so we will just have to wait and see. It is only about 2 months, or just over 2 months, so sometimes it's hard to sex them at that age. Sometimes they need to be just a titch older, but Tristan is very good with leopards, so if he is thinking that it's a female, it probably is one. But we will have to wait and see. The way that you would tell is under the base of the tail towards the bum. Males get a little bit of a yellow coloration, and that's where their testicles sit. And then obviously as they get older you can actually physically see the testicles, but when they're smaller it's just that little bit of a yellow fur as opposed to white with the female. So that's a way to tell. But they also need to drop a little bit. It's very similar to if you have domesticated cats or dogs. It takes a while for their body parts to develop. Yes, she's very hot. You can see her panting. Her whole body is moving from that panting. But again, look how well she blends into that environment. Now, earlier when we came here, because we came here just sort of just before the start of our part of the show, because again, this is where she was left, we could hear Franklin alarm calling in a very thick bush area, and like I said earlier, we couldn't really see her, so we left, and then we just came back. We knew she was here, we just wanted to give her a little bit of time. But since we've been sitting here very quietly, there's been a couple more Franklins that have come past, and they're not making any noises with her. I reckon that they don't make too much noise around the den site, and Ferg reckons that they've just tired themselves out so much from alarm calling, because she's here the whole time. But it's very interesting, just as a side note. Heather Lily, you're saying a girl can dream. You never know what you're going to get. Come out, little cubby. I'm agreeing with you, Heather Lily. But again, patience is a virtue. Nice, deep, calm breaths, good vibes. It'll happen. And it's remarkably cooler now. It's dropped a couple degrees. So it's also possible that just in the sort of half an hour that we were away from here watching our beautiful elephants, that the cub came out for a little bit and then it got hot and got tired and then just went in, inside again just as we got here, which is why we only got a little bit of a view. And then it's probably taking a little bit of a nap. A friend of mine rescued some puppies the other day, and they go through little moments where they're complete spazzes, and then they sleep for like an hour, and then they do it again, and then they sleep for another hour. So this cub's going to be very similar. It's going to have bursts of energy that are all manic and crazy, and then it'll need to rest. But you can see that Thandi's having difficulty finding a way that's comfortable to rest. Part of that has to do with the heat, and part of it has to do with the fact that she's starting to wake up. It's very similar to us. If you're taking a nap and then you start to wake up from your nap, you toss and you turn and you move around and you're not quite ready to get out of bed. It's very similar for her. She's not quite ready to move, but she's starting to get the itchy feet. Oh, I forgot to update you with the Nyala. Just after we went back up to the Mara to say goodbye to Ralph and Taylor, the Nyala moved off. Ferg actually saw one running off. There's no alarm calling, but I think they just kind of figured that something was up. And she let them go. She didn't go into any proper stalking modes. Alright, now while we're waiting for our cute little cub to make an appearance, let's head over to Scott and see if he finds anything more amazing like that scrub hair with the ticks in its ear.
So Tandy's on the go slow, I'm told. Doesn't matter. It's still a very, very good situation for you guys to be in. And I'm confident that before the end of the safari, that tiny little cub is going to reveal itself. So let Thandi relax there. To be honest, if she gets up and starts moving away from the site, it may not actually work. So rather let her lounge there. And once that cub wakes up from a siesta, hopefully it will be full of beans, playing with mom, trying to bite the end of her tail. Who knows? Who knows? So, we are driving quite slowly, as you can tell. We were trying to sneak up on a woodpecker that we were hoping to show you, but it flew out and away of the bush that we were trying to get a visual of it in. I can hear a few birds alarm calling down to our left. I wonder what they've seen. What could it be? It sounds like some starlings. And there's a drongo on the scene. Drongos are great when it comes to alarm calling if they've spotted any predators they don't like. Although at this time of the year you do get some of the birds fighting with one another for nesting sites, so it can be a little bit confusing. No leopard here. Shadow! Come out! Not Barbara, Shadow's daughter. We would like to see you as well. Seems to have subsided, so we'll push on. Hello Scarlet Sky, you would like to know if I've got any funny guest stories from my days when I used to have guests on the back of the vehicle, or a lot less guests. Sheesh, there's a whole bunch of different genres and categories of us teasing the guests. I mean, as a guide with first-time guests, which are the majority of your guests that come out to Africa, they only come once and never again. And especially at camps like this in the Sabi Sands, people come on their once-in-a-lifetime holidays here. So you can really tease them, and you can tell them just about anything. I knew a local Shangaan guide that used to tell his guests that termite mounds, like this one just to the left of us here, were the graves of elephants. And as he drove through the reserve, he'd say, "Oh, shame, that was a very small elephant. It was a small termite mound that died." He said it was during a drought that all of these things died. And the guests would be shattered, obviously, because you'd just be talking about this gigantic cemetery, essentially, because termite mounds are everywhere, and you'd kind of dramatize each story. So there's lots of kind of tricks that you can play on people like that. But I don't have one specific kind of scene that comes to mind. And my memory is quite shocking, actually, to be honest, Scarlet Sky, so I can barely even remember when last I had a guest on the back of the vehicle. It was quite some time ago. I actually stopped, guiding in a camp in 2011 or 2012. And since then I've been in the industry, but either taking you guys on these live safaris or taking guests on private safaris, which it's not nearly as consistent and steady as guiding guests when you're at a camp. There you've got a solid flow of guests, but when you're private guiding and managing camps, you tend to do it less often but for longer periods of time with a set group. So you'll go out on safari for 2 weeks with one set family and then have a bit of a breather. But sadly, no, I'm not coming up with anything funny for you, Scarlet Sky. I obviously just don't have my funny pants on today, so I do apologize. I'll try and become better at remembering funny things for you. What else is there? There must be a million funny things. It's just my filing cabinet is obviously shut, that contains all such interesting files. Alrighty then, now I've been driving around the same area a lot of times, and this is the reason being is that I've been hoping of finding Shadow, so maybe we will get lucky and maybe she will pop up. Lady Starfire, you have just sent through a tweet saying buffalo ? What do you mean by that, Lady Starfire? Oh, exclamation mark, not question mark. So let us know what you mean by that. Have you seen one somewhere on the dam cam? Have you got a feeling one's being eaten by a lion? Are you being attacked by one? That wouldn't be good, because that's probably the last beast I'd want to have running at me on foot. I still haven't seen a buffalo in the month that I've been here. Not a buffalo and not a lioness. Would you believe it? Fascinating. I would never have thought that that would be the case, especially the buffalo, not so much the lion, that I can understand, but not to see a buffalo here is boggling my mind. And with this kind of drought-like conditions that we're continuing to experience here, with not nearly enough rain to get this vegetation behaving as it's supposed to, I don't think it's going to be any time soon that buffalo decide to come back here, sadly. But it's all natural, the ebb and flow and the ins and outs and ups and downs of all ecosystems. So let us not be too concerned, but merely just be aware and discuss what's going on, I guess, so we know what's happening. Ooh. Now I've just found Jared, one of our tech geniuses' favorite bird. Let's see if we can get it, and I hope he's in the tech room because its crest is flaring up beautifully in the afternoon sunlight. Keep zooming and sends it straight on the left a bit. There it goes. Yeah. It's heading towards the kind of treehouse waterhole, so hopefully we'll be able to get another view of it. Let's head on up there. Well, fear not, Jared was not in the final control, but now he is, so we will continue our quest to find him his favorite bird. It would have been so good if we could have got a view of it. Obviously it's tricky to do things instantaneously out here, but its crest goes down once it's relaxed, but often as it lands it flares it up, and it was initially beautifully illuminated from the backlit sunlight behind it. I'm not sure exactly where it landed. Somewhere up in here. Let's keep scratching about. It's called an African hoopoo. I don't even know if I've mentioned to you guys what it's called yet. Very cool bird. It's got zebra-like patterning on its wings, black and white bars, a chestnut brown body, and that very fancy crest that it can erect. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much to Henny, who's provided us some great information on kudu and where they got their name from. There's the hoopoo. Oh no, false alarm. Sorry, it's a lapwing. Whoops. Nothing worse than a false alarm. Get everyone excited for nothing. So Henny says that the kudu, the antelope we were looking at earlier, who were wondering how they got Ikudu, there's an E before the kudu. We have dropped the I from the Xhosa word, so Ikudu means the ghost of Africa. Ooh. So thank you, Henny, and that's far more appropriate, I think, than the fact that it's called a kudu because it makes a kudoof noise when it's running. So I'm glad we've got to the bottom of that. And it's a good lesson for everyone to be cautious of what people tell you, because it doesn't matter if they're dressed in khaki, wearing fancy felt spoons or safari boots like this one, they can sometimes talk rubbish. Not that they're meaning to, but it's often misinformation a lot of the time, and etc, etc. Anyway, don't believe everything your guides tell you, because just like my friend who was telling his clients that elephants were being buried and hence the termite mounds, piles of earth everywhere, you do have to be cautious. Dina K, you say that I need to go back up to the Mara and show you some cheetah. I'll tell you what, Dina K, why don't you tell Taylor and Ralph to go and find you some? As much as I would love to go back there, I do need to be here for the next few months, so your best bet is to try and get Taylor and Ralph to go across there. I've got no idea why they haven't gone across there. Maybe there's a reason why, or I don't know. But yes, sorry. I will help you. I will help you as soon as I'm back there. I will be spending as much time as possible across that side of the river, because in my opinion it produces the goods. But everyone's got their own different plan of attack, I guess. I do certainly miss the cheetah, there's no two ways about it, but I must say that it is so good to be back in the land of the leopard, because we have already, or I've already managed to have some incredible sightings shared with you guys, and the fact that we've got Tandy and her tiny little furball, you know, at the moment just makes it an incredible time to be here. What a privilege, what a time to be alive, and what a time it is for you to be heading across back to that very leopard and hopefully that little furball cub. I'm guessing it's not going to be long before it pokes its cute little face out.
So just as you're saying that, Scott, Thandi is getting up and moving around, but we're still focusing on the hole because we want this. Listen. Sorry, hold on. She was calling just a little bit just now. Ferg and I are waiting with bated breath. We don't want to miss anything. Listen, listen, listen. She's calling it out. She's gonna call it out again just now. She's gonna call it out again, and it's gonna come out of that little hole. It's really the noises she's making are really, really soft. I don't want to talk too much right now. I just want to see what happens with the noises. Hopefully we pick them up. Because the calls are so quiet and so soft, our microphone is struggling a little bit to get it to you all. But it's a sort of, I'm so bad with the leopard calls. It's like a soft, tiny little grunt with a high-pitched note to it. She's waking it up. She's saying, come out, come out. So she can take care of it a little bit before she goes on. If it doesn't come out soon, then she'll make her noises a little bit louder and gruffer. I'm not sure if you guys can hear. It's just these tiny, tiny little coughs. There, she's got the little bit of meat that she brought from this morning. Remember we had that kill yesterday afternoon when we found her? There's the head of the impala and the legs. And she's just moved a little bit behind the tree. It's interesting. I want to show you what she's doing, but I don't want to miss the cub either. So Ferg's making a really good choice here in where he's putting the camera. I can see her just on the underside of the tree, and she's chewing on the head just a little bit. There we go. Oh, that's one. Ferg, you've got such a good eye. So, and there she goes eating. She's telling it to come out and come eat with her. Monique, you're curious to know if she is denning here to teach the baby to climb. Monique, leopards have an inherent ability to be able to climb. She's denning here because this is a tiny little spot that it's hard for any other predator to get into, and it's the safest spot that she can think of to put her cub. That's why she's denning here. It's all about safety and camouflage. So just at the bottom right-hand side of your screen, there's Tandy's little head, eating what's left of that baby impala. And she's basically what she said is, she said, come out, it's dinner time, come out, come out. And that little cub is still hiding somewhere inside of here. But it'll come out. All of you, Nikki was just saying to me now in my earpiece, she's waiting with bated breath. I'm also waiting with bated breath. I'm sure all of you at home are waiting with bated breath. It'll happen. It'll definitely happen. Now, I just want to look with my binoculars quickly. I think I'm getting overexcited, but there might have been a little bit of movement. Tweety Kid, you and many others are saying that how nice it is just to hear the birds. I definitely agree. It is a peaceful little moment. And it is nice just to sit in the bush quietly for a bit. Wildflower, you were saying you didn't think they brought food to the den. Now, Wildflower, it's, Tristan and Scott were talking about how they don't often do it because it can be dangerous because of the smell. But remember, the animals don't read the books. They do what works best for them. Just like human mothers, they do what works best for them and their little one. She's doing what works best for her. So she had quite a nice meal of this impala, this baby impala yesterday. And then she obviously needed to nurse. Yesterday afternoon we were noticing how it was quite wet under where her teats are. And so she decided to come back. And then this morning she went back to the kill and fetched it. So basically what she's doing now is she's giving herself a little bit of a meal, but it also means that she can nurse her cub and then give her cub some meat without having to take her cub all the way to where the kill was, which is a bit far from here. So that's part of the reason here. And again, every scenario and every individual predator that you see has a different way in which they operate. We can give you a roundabout idea of how they function and why they function like that, but we also try and remind you guys as much as possible that things are variable and movable within their system. And she's just finding that this little impala, probably it's better to bring it here. It's not going to smell that much. It's not very big. And by the time it is going to have any bit of a ponk to it, she'll be finished. And maybe she's getting ready to move to another den site. You never know. Jersey Lady 2, right? You're saying that basically the only rule in nature is that there's no rules. I agree with you. I've seen very funny things happen. It's also how we learn, and I have friends that are researchers and do research, but a lot of what they do as well when they work on properties like this is they're collecting their own data, but then also sightings and experiences that we have get collected into their data as well. Obviously they can't be everywhere at once. So let's say, for instance, we did have a leopard researcher here with us on Djuma. We don't at the moment, but let's just say that we did. Something like this would be noted down. I would say the age, the sex of what the kill was, the movements, and then they would note that down and who saw it and when, and that goes into it. I mean, for a long time we thought that lions only hunted and hyenas, spotted hyenas only scavenged, and we know that to be a falsehood. We know that lions scavenge just as much as they hunt, and hyenas hunt just as much as they scavenge. It just depends on the scenarios that they're in. Now, what I'm finding very interesting is she called out this cub quite a few times, then jumped down and picked up this meat, and this cub is still taking its nap. I'm determined to show this cub to you all. Guide Monkey, you're saying that Tandy, or there's a question mark at the end of this, so let's see if I can do my inflection properly. Basically, you're saying that Tandy would show some reaction if the cub was in danger. So let's say there was another predator coming around here. Yes, if Tandy could sense, smell, hear, or see those senses that predator was around, she would have a reaction. Or if she didn't want us to be here, she would have a reaction. But we've been here for quite a while now. She has not once showed us anything but the fact that she's relaxed. So obviously the cub's not in danger. Let's say another leopard were to rock up on the scene. You would definitely get a reaction out of her, that's for sure. Or if I were to drive too close to the den. I'm sitting comfortably close, but everything that we did when we came around and how we moved and how we spoke, she barely batted an eyelid. So she's very happy with the space that we've given her. So yeah, she would definitely do something if if she felt that the cub was in danger. Sparlina, that's a really interesting question. You're asking, do leopard mums move their cubs as a matter of course or when they feel the need? It's both, actually. And it also has to do with any pressure from predators or anything like that, any outside pressure. So usually they would move within... oh, sorry, I just saw some movement, but it's her tail. I'm too excited. They would move sort of 2 to 3 dens within the first 3 to 4 months. If they move more than that, it means that they've had a lot of pressure from outside pressure, and need to carry on. So they'll have their first den site for a few weeks, and then their second den site for a little bit longer than that, and then their third den site until then the cub sort of moves with mom, and then they stash it in other places as they carry around their territory. Because right now she's only utilizing her very core territory. The only reason for her to want to go outside of that would be food, the need to find food, but she can't just be in her core territory all the time. She does need to also actively demarcate and defend her outer territory and then into her home range as well. And also remember, I mean, you guys had that brilliant sighting with Shadow and Tandy and Shadow's youngster, so there's definitely a void and a variable boundary that's happening with territories now, so she needs to make sure that she keeps up with that. Alright, now while we're still waiting for this cute little cub to come out, let's head back to Scott and see what he's up to, and I promise you the moment this cub shows itself, you all will see it.
Well, I'm still feeling confident that you guys are going to get lucky, so don't get despondent. We still have 20 minutes to play with. And like Noel was saying, it's hard to try and understand what is going through old Thandi's mind, why she's bringing these kills back to the den site. I certainly don't have any plausible theories. But the bottom line is, and the moral of the story is that even though there may be kind of general trends that animals of a certain species may kind of do as per the norm, there's always these interesting scenarios where there are these random outliers or surprise scenarios that just can't be explained by us because it doesn't necessarily make sense to us, which is exactly the case here. It's also not the first time she's done this. It's the second time we've seen her chewing on something at the den. The first time was about 5 days ago, maybe 6 days ago, when Senzo and I were there. At first, when Senzo was the first to notice that she was actually chewing on something, I said, "Don't be daft, Senzo. She's cleaning the cub, she won't be eating anything here." And lo and behold, a minute later, I was apologizing to Senzo because he was in fact correct. So, yeah, interesting stuff does happen. Very interesting stuff. I mean, maybe she feels that by her being there, she's more protection to it, even though she's brought with it some lures that may lure in some form of danger in the way of hyena or lion, but that doesn't really make sense. David, you'd like to know if she would allow Tingana, the cub's father, close to the den at this young age. I'm not too sure. I would guess that if he came close to it, she may get a little bit hissy and snarly, but not too hectically, because at some point in time he is going to find that cub. You know, sometime relatively soon. I'm guessing from anywhere from 3 months of age when that cub starts moving with its mother from kill to kill. And there's going to be no issues then, the first time it meets it. So I don't think so, no, that she would have any trouble. But I've got no first-hand experience with father leopards being exposed to very young cubs. I've actually spent very little time with young leopard cubs and the dynamics that happen in and around them. So most of my leopard cub viewing was sadly when I was a rookie back in the 80s, the 2080s. And yeah, I just, back then I just wasn't taking in the finer details as I kind of am now. I was just going, oh, that's a leopard, yay. Which is sad that I didn't take better note of what was going on back then, but I guess like everything in life, when you are young and inexperienced in any job or position, you only take in the basics. Now I don't think I'm mature, but I'm kind of on the pathway to maturity. Who knows if I'll ever make it. Sankit, you would like to see some reptiles, and I could think of nothing better than showing you snakes and chameleons and lizards, but they're tricky customers to find. So I'm going to do my best. The most likely reptile that we're going to see at this stage of the evening, now that it's cooled down, sheesh, what is going to be our most likely reptile? It's tricky. At this stage of the evening, not many of the lizards are moving around. We could get incredibly lucky and find a snake, but we don't get to see them as often as we would like. Chameleons would be a good one. I mean, they sleep after dark, but far easier for us to find with the use of a spotlight, because they illuminate a slightly pale shade and they've got a very distinct shape at night when they're curled up in trees. But yeah, during the day they're very tricky to spot unless they're crossing the road. So I will do my best to find a reptile for you, but I'm feeling like it is going to be tricky at this stage of the evening. What we should do, Sankit, is if you watch, or let us know next time in the hotter parts of the day on a sunrise safari, or just earlier on a sunset safari, and then I'll go. There's a few skinks, a few kind of lizards that we can try and find for you. They're just quite quick and small, but if you would like to see one, we can definitely try our best to make that happen. Just let us know when you are watching again, when the sun's a bit brighter, and we should be able to get something for you. Okay, very good. Well, I've got a feeling this little cub is going to poke its head out at any moment. It hasn't done it just yet, but I think it is going to be worth jumping on board with Noelle. She's got into a slightly better spot and got a good view of Tandy. So crossing fingers, you guys, next time you see me, would have seen that cub.
So we came around just to see what the view was like this side, and it's true, you can see Thandi much better from here as she chews on the head of that baby impala. But obviously Ferg and I are sitting here going, oh my goodness, so what if she goes back? So we just have to believe that this is the right call and that things will happen from here. And again, just be patient. So now I'm going to stop talking and just see if you can hear her chewing. Can we hear that? Again, I think it's just a little bit too far. Slight crunching noise is happening there. Let's see, we'll try again. Of course she stops. It's always the way. Now it's interesting to me that she, it's very slight crunching noises, hey? It's very interesting to me that she called, the cub did nothing, and then she's devouring, she hasn't, oh, no. Okay. Ferg, I'm making the call, we're going back the other, yeah, we're gonna go back to the other side. I think she wants to nurse. Guys, you just gotta bear with us. Because of the way that the den site is, it's super tricky because there's only so many places we can put our car and also get a view and also keep the cub safety in there. So we're gonna do the best we can. I just need you all just to be patient. I'm just gonna be quiet for a minute. I'm going to see how this works for Thandi and for us. Oh, I saw the cub. I saw the cub. Shh, shh. It's there, Ferg. It's in the little thing. Okay, it's just poking its little head out. I can see its little ears. Can you see the little ears, everybody? There it is. There it is. Now, everybody, the youngest cub that I've ever seen is 3 months. I have not seen a cub that's younger, and this cub is younger. So I might take 1 or 2 photos, so you have to excuse me when it comes out, if that happens, just so I can keep... Oh my goodness, everybody, look! Look, look, look. everyone, welcome to a special live broadcast from Sabi Sands in South Africa on Djuma with Tandy and her tiny little baby leopard cub who's moving inside that little hole there. It is about 2 months, just over 2 months. It's the cutest little leopard cub ever, bordering on 3 months, and it's just sticking its head out. Mum was busy finishing off what was left of an impala kill, and this little one's trying to decide if it's going to come out and what is it going to do, and it's absolutely fantastic, and it's just been peeking at us from the sides. As you can see, Mum is super, super relaxed, and the little one's just deciding what is it going to do. Is it going to come? It keeps peeking its head out, just having a look, and then going back in, and then having a look and going back in while Mum cleans. So we just have to be patient. We've been sitting here waiting and waiting and waiting, and finally this little cub has woken up. It's a lot cooler now, and so the movements are much easier for mother and for cub. Oh, this is just too exciting. Robin, you're saying hi from Utah. Hello, Robin, and happy holidays. Our special holiday gift to everybody is this really incredible sighting. Scott had such a magical moment this morning, but we are now having our own magical moment with this little one. Now, when she's done grooming herself, she'll probably start calling the little one out again. I can't see it from there it is. There we go. Look how lightly colored the eyes are. Tiny. Listen, you can see its mouth moving a little bit there, going row row. Everyone, this is a really, really special sighting. I can't even begin to explain to you how exciting this is. Joshua, you are curious to know if we know the gender of the cub yet. We don't know. It's still a little bit young. Tristan, who works with me, says he thinks it might be a female. We're just going to have to wait and see. If it comes out and shows itself, I will show you how to tell the difference. Hello, Pippa Moolman from Cormacky. Happy holidays. I hope you're doing well and enjoying this really amazing sighting of this tiny little baby leopard. Now, there's a lot of flies around the hole of the den site here. And then you can just see the little one moving again. She or he is definitely going to come out. Remember, everyone, we are live. We are filming live, coming live to you from the Sabi Sands in South Africa, from Djuma. So whatever platform you're watching this amazing action broadcast on, you can send questions or comments through, and we will do our best to answer as many as we can. There's just the little ear poking out. Look, Mr. Canada, it's a hole in a log. Oh my goodness, look, and we're going to play with Mum. How exciting. Absolutely amazing. Let's just take a few moments to appreciate how incredible this is. Liz, you're curious to know how we found the cub inside the tree. So Liz, yesterday afternoon, myself and Ferg, who's on camera with me, found Tandy with an impala kill. And then this morning, Scotty D, who works with us on another vehicle, went back to where Tandy was on the kill, found her, and then followed her to here. And this is what he found. So she moved this little one from her other den site, which isn't far from here, and into this little hole. Everyone, if you take your 2 adult hands together, this little leopard cub fits inside your 2 adult hands, nestled inside those little hands there. Debbie, you're curious to know if there's only one cub. Debbie, there is indeed only one cub. It's possible that when she gave birth, she had more. We've only ever seen the one. When she gives birth, she's very secretive when she gives birth. And things like rain or other leopards or lion or mongoose can play a factor in whether those cubs survive. Usually leopards have sort of 2 to 3 cubs, and of those 2 to 3, 1 to 2 will survive. I am actually a bit overwhelmed at the moment with how special this is and how amazing the fact that Thandi is so comfortable with us to let us experience her teeny tiny baby leopard with her as it wakes up from its nap and starts to move around and play with Mum. These are not pets, everybody. These are wild animals. This is so special. Colleen, really good comment. You're saying for a tiny little cub, it's got pretty big paws. It'll grow into those paws, Colleen, that's for sure. Sometimes, especially when they're a little bit older than this, going more to 4, 5, 6 months, you can start to see, not just from the genitalia, but from the size of the paws, if it's a male or female, because the males will tend to have larger paws. Izzy, you're saying, this is amazing, this is so cute. Thanks, Santa, best present ever. This really is unbelievable. I am running out of words to use to just explain. She's calling it a little bit. Let's just be quiet. She made tiny little grunting noises, and then the cubs come a little bit closer. And then the cubs making tiny little noises back to Mum. It just made little squealing noises. Mariana, you're asking where the father is. Mariana, female leopards are territorial, and then they'll fit inside a male's territory, but they don't co-parent, right? The female mates with the male, and then she beats him up a little bit. He beats her up a little bit back, because it hurts. The male's penis is barbed, so it's a very difficult scenario for them. And then she goes away and has her little one, and she basically raises the little one on her own. I used to work with a leopard researcher that found that after the male cubs were 2 years old and they get kicked away from the mum, that sometimes the dads will take over for a little bit, but it depends on the population densities. We have a very high population density of leopard here, so we will start seeing Tandy with the father of this cub, which we believe is Tingana. We will see them eventually possibly feeding off of kills together because of overlapping territories, but it's not a given, and he's not going to necessarily help raise this little cub. That's all on her. Michelle, this little cub is about just over 2 months, just under 3. So let's say 5 to 6 weeks, right around in there. Katie Riga, you're curious to know what the leopard cub's name, or the mum's name is. This is Tandy. So Tandy is one of the dominant female leopards on Djuma in the Sabi Sands in South Africa, where we film from. So we're a very special organization, Safari Live, and we do this twice a day, and you can watch us on multiple platforms, but on YouTube, you can follow us on Twitter, and we do these special action broadcasts as well. And Tandy is one of the females that is close enough for us to get a view on and to follow around. So she's famous for us here at Djuma, and she's famous for the Safari Live family. But all leopards have names, no matter what property you go to and where you are. We also film out of the Masai Mara in Kenya, and there'll be other leopards up there with other names that are sort of famous in that area as well. And again, for anyone that's new and watching with us, we are live. You can send through those questions and comments as you've heard. And remember, these are wild animals. I'm not sitting in a zoo. I'm not sitting with a tame, habituated animal. I'm sitting with wild animals who just understand that we are part of their natural environment and allow us to view them. Now, sometimes you can come to Africa and view them by being on a game drive vehicle as a guest at a lodge, or right now you're lucky enough to do this from this amazing virtual platform where it's me driving the vehicle and Ferg's on camera at the back. All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for being with us for this very special action broadcast. I hope you enjoyed. And don't forget to follow us on Safari Live. You can go Google it now or go onto the YouTube and go in Safari Live. Have a very Merry Christmas, everyone. Well, everyone, thank you so much for sticking with Ferg and I and being patient. This has been so incredible. I am so excited to be able to share this with all of you. I am just over the moon. I really, really, truly have run out of words. I even teared up a little bit. I know I'm such a girl, but this is special. This is beyond something that you could ever expect at any given time, and it truly, I mean, I've been guiding, I'm going into my 11th year now, and this is definitely a memorable moment for me, and I'm sure for Ferg as well. Ferg spent a little bit more time with this cub, but it's special every time, and Tandy's been really good with us today and has allowed a lot of great viewing. So, from all of us here at Safari Live, from myself and Ferg, and from Scott and Senzo, and from the team in the Mara, from Taylor and Ralph, and from everyone in FC, we really hope that you had an amazing Christmas day and continue to have a happy holiday. And we will come to you tomorrow morning, hopefully with some more Tandy and Cub.